go on a webinar with Nat.
Thursday.
Before boxing.
Okay,
Looking live.
we're good.
We're all good.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody to our next Results Academy. Fortnights spin around so very, very fast. It is with great pleasure tonight that I will be having another good friend of mine joining us as our guest speaker. But firstly, let me just run through the reason for these Results Academies. So they're for anybody who's just starting out, or even if you've been with us for a while and you're a little overwhelmed and bamboozled with getting back on track. These are calls where a guest shares what they did to get their results. So you might get some inspiration from them, a good idea from them. But remember, any questions, please get back to one of us coaches and we're more than happy to help you. And also, please remember that we're not claiming we cure anything, and individual results may vary. So, you know, it depends on the effort and consistency that you put in as to the results that you get out of the products. So let me introduce a very dear friend of mine, Jody Saxon, all the way from Western Australia. Welcome, Jody.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me, Nat and Ralph.
You are welcome. So Jody's a full-time worker, busy mum, and Jody probably wouldn't agree with me, but if you saw Jody beforehand, you probably would go, she's fine, there's nothing wrong with her, she doesn't need to lose weight or do anything. But her story is amazing, and I share her story with so many of my clients because she's proof that, you know, give your body the right nutrients and the right food, you know, you can find wellness. So let's get in and share Jody's exciting story. So now, Jody, before any of this, like in your younger days and earlier, you were a professional dancer and singer. You were always fit and healthy, you know, going to the gym and everything. And then life got tricky. And then you were suffering with these conditions. So do you want to talk us through, you know, what you were like just before you found Herbalife?
Just before I found Herbalife, okay. So in a nutshell, I was recovering from severe chronic PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and I had severe anxiety and chronic depression, clinically diagnosed, was on maximum medication for depression. I couldn't sort through it myself. I was anti-drugs, but I just got to the point I couldn't do it on my own, so I had to give in. Was covered in rashes on my body at one stage, you know, just so stressed, my body wasn't coping. I was also at that time diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis. Now, I didn't know there was such a thing, and I didn't know I had it. I'd had, when I was pregnant, just little bits of psoriasis on my elbows, never before in my life, and it was never sort of too bad. But then pain started coming through my body, and I just thought, oh, it's due to this, I'm getting old, oh my God. But no, lo and behold, I was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis, which is a chronic autoimmune disease. And mine was quite bad in that it's tendon and joint related, and it moves all around my body and is very unpredictable. So it doesn't just happen in your fingers. You know, when you get osteoarthritis or something like that, mine will work in my shoulder. And then they thought I had frozen shoulder. And by the time they test that one, it's in this one, and I can't move that one either. And then it goes to my feet, and then I couldn't walk. I couldn't actually walk for a couple of years, but I wasn't sure at the time if it was psoriatic arthritis or my back condition. So my back condition had stemmed from a childhood or teenage horse riding accident where I landed on my face and flipped over with an arched back, and my back legs came up and over. So it caught up with me in time. So it was hard to know if it was a psoriatic arthritis or my back problem because I had bulging discs. So for 2 years, I couldn't walk. And it was this time when I'd just started Herbalife. I'd hobble everywhere. We went on a cruise ship, and I actually went straight into the doctors and just said, please, have you got something really strong, because I've left my drugs at home and I can't walk. My feet are killing me. And then I just wanted to get the wheelchair when we get to port. I couldn't keep up with my family walking around, and I just felt like screaming out, you know, slow down, I can't keep up. But anyway, I couldn't exercise. Couldn't go to the gym, everything I started, and it made my depression worse. One thing just rolled into another. and it kind of brought on very low self-esteem. And through the PTSD, I'd lost my ability to socialize and have that self-confidence that I used to have when I was on stage all the time. They're very body conscious. I've always been, as you said, like a professional dancer, and I've always taken care of myself. I was a gym junkie when I was young, and I thought that was what you did to keep fit. But once I started getting out of, it started getting out of hand with the medication and the weight gain, and I was drinking too much wine to cope. I wasn't coping at work. I just wasn't coping with life. So yeah, the kilos stacked on, and I just wouldn't wear shorts. I was just looking at myself change, and I hated myself. Now, with my psoriatic arthritis came a lot of drugs, and I had to have cortisone every month in my thumb because that was so bad. I had to self-inject every week with a drug, and I also had to have a very strong drug which was actually damaging my liver. So it was a catch-22, you did or you didn't. What was that?
Vicious cycle, isn't it?
It is. And as much as you don't want to take the drugs, they say with my condition, if you don't, it will speed up the process and you will, you know, be incapacitated much sooner. So I had to keep doing it. And then I went in for double spinal surgery a couple of years back. And when I came out, I had to stop some of the arthritis drugs. And I actually said to him, look, I'm feeling okay. I don't particularly want to go back on. And he said, well, let's just monitor it. We monitored it, went back every month. And eventually my bloods were really, really good. I was on Herbalife by this stage. Yeah.
We'll go up on that because we'll get to that after.
Yeah.
So we don't want to give it all away.
No, that's right. Now, and when I used to get a lot of colds because I had 3 children, and always getting bronchial infections. As a singer as well, I always had bronchitis and coughing, and whatever was going around I caught.
Yeah. If only had Herbalife back then, hey?
I know.
So then you reached out to an old school friend who was doing Herbalife, and that old school friend was Leanne, who was one of our guests on a previous Results Academy as well. So we've all heard Leanne's story. So Leanne coached Jody, and this was Jody before. Like, knowing Jody now, like I can't believe, like, it's not even that bad, but knowing you now, you're just such a little pocket rocket and have an amazing figure that I can't believe that this was how you were beforehand. But you know, you were 69 kilos, and that's not much. Like, that's actually my goal weight. I want to get to 69 or 68 kilos. So, you know, really, you look at that. But there we go back to, it doesn't matter what the kilos are, it's the reshaping in each individual's what's right for them. So for Jody, 69 kilos was a lot, yet that's my goal to get to. So, you know, don't look at anyone else, stay in your lane with what's right for you. But we'll just go through. So this was your habits before Herbalife. So talk us through that, Jody.
Okay, so I rarely used to drink water. I lived on Diet Coke and Pepsi Max. Loved the sweetness and the bubbles. And especially after having too much wine, I drank a lot of wine. So the next morning, all I would do was reach for the Diet Coke, the Pepsi Max. I always used to drink a lot of coffee because I had a job that was night shifts for a period of time. And I just got into coffee. And I did lose the desire to exercise. I wasn't doing much at all. And with all my injuries and pain, I really couldn't do anything. My breakfast mainly was, I used to have 4 Wheat Bix with just lots, and everyone was coated with sugar and milk, full cream dairy. That was it. That's what I knew. It's what I was raised with, and that's all I knew. I loved white bread. I would just get a loaf and put my hand in and pull out all the white dough, you know, and just eat that, or have slabs of butter on it, you know. Loved it. And I still visualize how much, you know, how I used to taste, but I just don't have it. And I love pasta with Parmesan cheese. That's it. And my son, unfortunately, has inherited that. And you know, looking back on it, I was always struggling energy wise. I'd push, and I was just coping. I was coping every day before.
Just striving, not.
Yeah, I was surviving. And coping, doing what I needed to do to cope, getting up in the morning, going through the throes of what was expected of me. And then at night I would just crash, you know.
Yeah.
And with that high level of antidepressants, I was on one, I didn't realize at the time, they just kept upping it and upping it because I wasn't responding and I couldn't process things. And I ended up being on 600 milligrams of this drug that no one's ever, there's not documented as the long period of time. Some people have been on it for 2, 3, 4 weeks. I was on it for 1.5 years. So the damage it would have done to my insides, I can't even begin to imagine.
Yeah. Incredible, isn't it? What they see. Now look at this woman now, like just insane. So you dropped 10 kilos.
Yeah.
And, some people go, oh, but I've only lost 10 kilos or I've only lost 5 kilos. It can make a huge difference to everybody. So don't ever minimize whatever the result is that you've got. Even 500 grams is amazing, but 10 kilos, and look at the reshaping here. So, to go from a size 12 to a size 8 just blows me away. I wanted to try and get the photo in the middle of you in your jeans is actually a dancing photo. She's wiggling and dancing, but I couldn't, I'm a bit tech retarded, and I couldn't get the actual video to work on there. So I just took a snapshot, but just incredible, your reshaping. You must have had to go and get a whole new wardrobe.
I did actually. And those jeans, I'll tell you a little story about those. I actually left my pairs of jeans on when I was on holiday in Sydney. I left them behind. So when I came back to Perth, I was looking for my jeans. I couldn't find them. So I thought, I'm not going to go out and buy really expensive ones. I went to the op shop and I found these ones, but they were really tight around the waist. They were uncomfortable. And then one day, just recently, I put them on and I went, oh my God, they're loose, like I've got thumbs all around them. And I went, John, check this out. And he's got the camera and I'm like, whoa. And that's where the video came from. I was like so excited.
Yeah, it's the best feeling, isn't it?
It is. And it's the whole mindset. Everyone's different, like in your own skin, where you're comfortable. Yeah. And for me, it's always been lean, trim. I don't want to be muscly and I don't want to be really skinny. I love being lean and healthy.
Yeah. And well, you're definitely that. And I love that photo of you and John over from Spectacular. Like, that's a beautiful photo of you two. Now I just there's my little 10 kilos.
Nat, do you know that John's lost 30 kilos?
Oh wow, that's awesome. See, isn't it great? Like once you start feeling better and get the result, it kind of snowballs and the rest of the family catch on. But I've just put your before and afters together because
wow.
Just so everyone can really see the difference here. So this is reshaping. And, like we said, Jody hasn't lost a huge, we've had guests on who've lost 60 kilos and 40 kilos. 10 kilos doesn't sound a lot, but it can honestly change your life and reshape you that you are fitting into the size clothes that you want to. So don't just focus on the scales. Us coaches are always preaching that to you all. It's not about that. It's about the muscle gain and the fat percentage loss. And
that's it. And I've still got it. Like that was last year and I'm still, it's not as if I've lost it. It's there and it's still growing.
It's brilliant. It's so great. Now, how you feel now after being on Herbie? So how long's it been that you've been on Herbalife now?
Only about 4 years.
Yes. Yeah. Which is incredible. So, your energy's improved. And I reading through your answers that you sent me, like to know that it's been life-changing. It's a bit like my story. Like I love it that it's totally life-changing just through being on the products, and you feel like a cheesy infomercial, but until people experience it, you can't explain it, can you? But take us through how you feel now and your health now.
Look, absolutely. I have so much energy, 53, and I run rings around the people at work. I work full time. I now exercise. I run a fit club. I do online fit club. I go to the gym. My energy just is nonstop. Every now and again, like I will need a pickup, but generally not nonstop. Now, the antidepressants, yes, I've been able to reduce them to less than, half. I can't really find a stable enough period to totally try and come off again. I do get reactions when I stop them, so I have to be very careful there.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, like within probably a good 3 to 6 months after I started, I was nowhere near as volcanic and my mood swings. I used to call myself like a volcano. I would just erupt when I seemed to be on the borderline the whole time. I'd either crash or I'd explode. I'd crash and explode. And my family were unfortunately on the receiving end. And one day I just happened to look back and I thought, you know what? I'm actually handling emotional things a lot better. I'm not as responsive and aggressive. So that was really nice to actually acknowledge that within myself. The arthritis pain, I kind of gave you a brief intro on that previously. I was having cortisone injections every month in that thumb, as well as all my joints were so stiff. After the first month, I didn't realize it. I never went back for another cortisone injection. And I didn't realize that until probably, 3 to 6 months later. I was like, oh my God, I haven't needed one. They were still tender, but not excruciating to the point where I was crying and things like that. And I never had severe movement pain around my body after that. It was always there, and I'd always remind, oh yeah, the joints, and he'd push on my joints, and I'm like, yeah, it's still there, but nowhere near as bad. After my back surgery, I went to him and said, look, I'm feeling okay, and I don't think I need to go back on that drug, because I had to stop it for the operation. And he monitored me for a couple of months, every month, and my bloods were really, really good. And he kind of said, well, Jody, I'm happy for you not to take them. So I haven't had to take them ever since that. So that was probably like a year of being on the products consistently and, smashing them religiously. That's what I like. I'm not on off, a bit here, a bit there. I dive in and I'm committed. So that was fantastic. And, he's told me some other things I'm not really supposed to say, because Herbalife is not a cure. I will always have what I have. And I always have a little tingle here and there in my knuckles, but they say it's very rare to be in remission with what I have, but that's sort of what he said. And Herbalife is not a cure, but my body is coping with it a lot better. So I'm over the moon. I'm not sure what you meant with blood pressure there, Nat. I didn't have blood pressure issues.
Oh no, you just said you had on your thing that you because of stress and everything, you blood pressure there, that it was normal and healthy all the time instead of being,
my stress was so much better. And with the Herbalife was the only thing I changed once I started getting all these changes with the liver specialist and my psoriatic arthritis specialist. My bloods were really, really bad with the liver readings, and I was always above average, like way above average. And one day I went back to him and he said, oh my God, Jody, and this was around the same time that I was stopping the other drugs with my arthritis. And he said, Jody, your readings are amazing. They have been steadily coming down over the last couple of months. And this is actually probably your normal. It's still above average, but it's your normal. And your liver health is amazing. It's repairing. So I don't really want to see you again. So not until you have another issue. So I'm saving all this money. I was seeing specialists, like 2 expensive specialists every month, plus all the medication, and using drugs. So now the only different thing I did was Herbalife. So all I can say is, use it consistently, give it a go, and just see what happens with results. That's all. Just see what happens. You'll always have what you have, but
exactly.
And I don't get sick anymore. I can't remember the last time I had something. I might get a sniffle. My son gets terrible colds, like that, all through the head, the nose, the chest. He still won't use the products or anything like that. He's a stubborn 19-year-old. But I just, float around me. That's all right. It doesn't worry me. I'm not scared of getting sick anymore.
Yeah, it's great. And I just wanted to share too, Jody, I can remember, so Jody's become a coach herself because of her amazing results. And it was how long after your back surgery that you actually decided you weren't going to let the back surgery stop you, and you were on a plane over to Singapore? That just blew me away. Most people, the recovery after a back operation, that like the seriousness of the operation that you had, normally takes 6 months to recover. Is that correct?
6 months minimum. Mine was a minimum of 18 months because of the nerve damage in my back. It was so severe. He was shocked. Like, the operation was only supposed to take 2.5 hours, but he took him over 5. Yeah, he was shocked how bad it was.
And how long after the operation was it that you were on the plane heading to Singapore, like a 7-hour flight on a plane after back surgery? I think it was only a few months, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was within 3 months.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. And I remember I can visualize myself now in Singapore just struggling up the street and yeah.
Incredible. But you're a powerhouse. You got through it and you haven't looked back since, really, have you?
No, not at all. Health-wise or injury-wise, not at all.
Yeah. Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And now your routine and habits now have totally changed. You've ditched the fizzy soft drinks for aloe and stuff like that now. Do you want to take us through?
Sure. Yeah, like there was probably a time, I think the last time I had a Pepsi Max or something was 8 months ago. And probably 3 or 4 sips in and my stomach just went bleh, and I just went, oh my God, this is so gassy and what am I doing? And sometimes you have to have that just to remind yourself of why you stopped. Silly me. Yeah. So now I just love soda water with aloe, ice and lemon, all the actual flesh of the lemon, like all the bits and pieces in there, and I love eating it. And yeah, just love that. It's so refreshing. And I might even throw a lift off in there, that type of thing. Yeah, so that's replaced my Pepsi. I have water now everywhere I go. I have a cup of tea in the morning, so that counts as my water. I have a big 2-litre bottle at work, and then I have a huge, like a 3-cup of tea at work. And then I usually go through at least another litre when I get home. And tonight I've got boxing, so that'll be at least another 1.5 litres. And yeah, so lots and lots of water everywhere. I can't go anywhere without it, even in the car to the shops. I just get parched so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't like coffee anymore. My taste buds changed. I love the smell, don't get me wrong, but I just can't drink it. Just don't like it anymore. And I just love the herby tea. I'm hooked on the original now. It was peach for a while, but back on the original. Yeah, just love it.
Yep.
And with my eating, I find my body now tells me when I need to eat, and it's always on the 2 to 3 hours. I don't need to set the timer anymore. Like that's what I did initially because I knew it had to be by the formula to kickstart that metabolism. But now my body just tells me and my mind tells me when I need to eat, and it's just religious now. It's really, really good.
When you begin new habits, it's like it just becomes second nature. So you end up, your body just fits into that and it works like magic, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you just want to keep going with that. Like we have jars and jars of lollies at work and biscuits, and I just look at them and I try and just visualize all the fat and sugar. I just a whole tub of sugar in there, and it's like, can keep going. Like I might occasionally, now I'm at my ideal weight and all that sort of stuff. I can still do what everyone else does. I can still have the odd lollies and stuff. But when I was really at the start, I really made a decision to stop everything until I set myself the goal and I achieved that goal. Then I'd have a slither of cake or a bit of this and a bit of that. And then I was like, nah, I set myself the next goal. Now I'm here. I can still live a very normal life. I've cut down my wine a hell of a lot. And I still go out and have, you know, wine and dinners and things, but I make healthy choices around the foods that I like to buy. And I'll choose one plate, like the salad and veggies from that dish on the menu, combined with the salmon from that dish. I don't see why they can't put things from different dishes on the same plate. That's what I do. I ask them for it. Yeah, and at home now, with that comment there on the bread and pasta, I really rarely do I eat bread anymore. The neighbour throws bread over the fence. I don't know, he gets like 6 loaves and, Jody, do you want some? And I'm like, oh, the kids will have some. So if it's there, I might try a piece, but never the white. I'll go a bit of this really good seeded. But rarely do I eat bread. And we swap it. Bread, I'll have, like, instead of hamburger buns or a bun, I'll get lettuce leaves, the big iceberg lettuce leaves, and we put all the burger stuff in there with really fresh chicken, beetroot, a little bit of cheese, egg. For dinner, tomato, and a little bit of, I use the balsamic sauce type thing, and crunch, and it's just so nice. I love it. What else is there? We've swapped pizza base with zucchini slices. So we bake it with Parmesan cheese, make it a little bit firm, and then layer it up. And it isn't firm or anything, but it's still a delicious, even my partner John loves it. We kind of sloppy, it's a bit messy, but it tastes good, and it's so nice to know you're getting that goodness without the excess carbs, the bad carbs. Zoodles are a big hit. Always have zoodles. The zucchini noodles, for those who don't know who it is, just swap it with spaghetti, for spaghetti, I should say. I use quinoa a lot. My family don't particularly like quinoa, but I put it in all my slow cookers instead of white rice. And I do like brown rice, brown popped rice, but I only have a little bit. Still only have a little bit. Yeah. So I'm still always mindful of having good food.
And that's the thing, it's just making those healthy changes. Like I always talk about, flip the coin, whatever there is, there's an alternative, alternate choice that's healthier to go for. Now, this is you now with exercise, and it's been such a delight watching you set up your Dance Fit and how it's growing and taken off. I just wish we lived closer, that I could come along and shake my fang with you. So you've got Dance Fit once a week that you are the instructor, and then with COVID that didn't stop you and you went online like we did with our boot camp. You're hiking now, you're going to the gym, like you're exercising, you're definitely making the most of every day with your newfound wellness. And the other thing that I'm super proud of with you is you were a support team member, because John, your partner, rode in the H&F ride at the beginning of the year. So that was the 840 kilometre from Torquay to Adelaide. And Jody was the support crew. So, thinking of all her conditions and back surgery, it was camping in swags along the way. That trip, like, it scares me. Like, I've often thought of doing support crew, but it scares me with my MS. But Jody did it. She's my pin-up girl and inspiration that she did that. Do you want to add anything to that, Jody? Like how you got through that?
Oh, look, it was amazing. Just getting there was a nightmare, because we're in Perth. We decided to drive all the way to the other side of Australia to do it. But it was when the fires were on, so the Nullarbor was closed. So we camped in Esperance and desperately waiting for it to open. And finally, when they said, yes, they've opened it, we were in the first 20 cars over the Nullarbor. And we drove for 13, 14 hours straight. We pulled over on the side of the road, blew up the mattress, slept under the stars. We had about 4 hours sleep, got in the car, drove another 14 hours. Now, we missed the first day of the ride because of the fires, but we met them on that first night. So we got there about 9:30 p.m. and set up camp, we had to get up at 3 o'clock every morning. So we're up at 3. As the riders, they set off. We're in 3 teams, and you're just constantly on the go, back-to-backing each group, running, driving ahead, setting up stations. It was really busy and so much to do. It was exhausting, absolutely exhausting, just being the crew. So hats off to the riders. Like, I saw some of these riders, they were all different abilities, just dynamic, like amazing. But for myself, it was a real challenge just to get through this. I did notice, like, I've got another issue. I've got some muscle fraying away from one of my bones, the hip joint, or down on the side of my right leg. So I'm not allowed to do any impact sports. And I think just because now of sleeping on the ground, one day my whole leg seized up. I couldn't walk. I was dragging my leg behind me. I was in so much pain. But I knew it was that area where the muscle's coming off the bone. And I thought, what have I done? Have I done damage? So the next couple of days, it was okay. But, doing something like that, it was so satisfying and so rewarding. I really felt a part of something very important, and that what I was suffering was nothing in comparison to the children that we were raising all the funds for. But I absolutely loved it, and just thank God I was physically fit.
Well, I was just going to say, like, if you think back to what you were like before you found the products and started on the products, there's no way you would have been able to take part in that. So,
No.
It's incredible that you were able to experience that in good health. You might have been a bit sore and a bit tired, but just think, if you didn't have the products behind you, that would have made it so much harder to get through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people don't realise on that ride, all you have is Herbalife product. They don't really, you have a dinner, we go out for dinner, or we might, but all through the day, all you're having is F1 Sport. You're having what the riders are having. The riders are just having F1 Sport, Rebuild, That's all, you're just on the product the whole time.
Yeah.
And then bars and fruit.
Which is which is totally incredible. So now I always ask our guest speaker what they started on, and I think I mentioned this every call, but I think we've only had one guest speaker who didn't do Glow Lean, but every single guest we've had, Glow Lean or Boom Juice, whatever you want to call it, has been the go-to for most people. Now, Jody, you just started on a Glow Lean challenge. You weren't even on the full range of products, just the tea, aloe, and active fiber.
Yeah.
Yep. And then later on, got a Lean and Fit, which is for those people who aren't sure what a Lean and Fit program is. It's your shake mix, your multivitamin, the protein powder, and then the Herbie tea. But then, of course, you would have also been, did you keep going with the Glow Lean as well when you were on that Lean and Fit?
Not as such, no. There was a bit of a gap between that first challenge. I was reaching out knowing that I needed to do something, and I put my trust in Leanne, and she was running this challenge, and I think I didn't know what to expect. Yeah. So I did that, and then I kind of got to the end of that and went, oh, okay. And my mindset went, ugh. And so I didn't really start then. So it was months later that I reached out again. And that's when I jumped on the program. I actually did a 3-day trial. I forgot about that. I did the 3-day trial. And within 3 days, like my bloating just settled. And I was just like, oh my God, it's not as if I didn't get a big boost of energy because I'm hyper anyway. And I was like the roller coaster of up and down. And so for me, it was more stable. Is what I like to say to people. I became more stable. Yeah. And the Lean and Fit is something I think mainly through our team that they developed that program for more sporty orientated without the sports program. Yeah. And then once I got on that program, I was just hooked, and I just went, that's it. And I just focused and I did it, and the results speak for themselves.
They certainly do. And now you're on everything. You bleed green. You love it all. So that's just awesome. So now we're going to just quickly go through what your basic routine, and of course you mix your food up, but pretty much this is the routine you stick to with the products in your everyday life now.
Absolutely. I always get a cup of tea brought to me in bed in the morning. John's very good with that.
Him well.
Yeah, because I'm as much as I'm a go-getter, I still don't like mornings. So anyway, I need a good 10 minutes. And then I get up, I'll have my smoothie bowl. I really love thick smoothie bowls. So I've mastered the art with those, and I love it topped with seeds. I like to eat and chew. So I'll have a little bit of fruit and some nuts and seeds. My morning tea is generally, I love Greek yogurt with the F1 Sport. Leanne taught me that one with some mixed berries. I'd be mindful, I have occasionally overindulged in portion size, so it's very easy to forget that. It's either that or I might have a tin of tuna along those lines. I try not to have Greek yogurt every day. My lunch at work is purely just a hand-shaken water, F1 Select and Triple P and sups, down it goes. I don't take a blender to work or anything. I enjoy my snacks at work. That's what I make really enjoyable. And my afternoon tea, I love my mug muffins. It'll generally be a savoury muffin, so I'll just have a container there. It's that long, skinny one there with the celery and the peanut butter. I usually have an egg in one end, and I'll just have a mushroom, some tomato, a slice of cheese, and then I break all that up, put it in the mug, put it in the microwave for a minute and a half, bang. It's what time someone else will go downstairs for a smoko or go to the loo, and suddenly I'm at my desk and I'm having my protein. So that's good. And then, look, I'll have tea all through the day at work. And dinner, I come home and it might be, if I'm not exercising and I've just got a nice relaxing night or webinars and things like that, we'll do Cajun chicken burgers, so in the lettuce wraps with all veggies on top, or I might do a slow cooker with all different beans, quinoa and some veggies through that.
Yeah,
I will put that on the morning. The thought of eating, I just don't know. I've never enjoyed Hungry Jacks or those sorts of things. And the last time I had it, I remember my stomach felt so ill. And I think, why am I having this? And I just don't go there anymore. I don't go to takeaway pizza. I don't do any of those. If I do takeaway, it might be rice paper king prawn spring rolls, those really nice ones. That's about it.
Yeah. It is funny how your taste buds change. Now, as you all know, we always ask our guest speaker their favourite Herbie recipe, and Jody had a couple, but narrowed it down to this one. So the lemon cheesecake smoothie. So get your cameras ready to take a snapshot of this. I have to give this a try. I've never done this one, so I'll be giving it a try because it looks and sounds delicious. So take a screenshot. I'll just hold that a bit longer so everyone can snapshot that one, and maybe post it in our page and show us how yours turned out when you make it. Okay, so now thank you so much, Jody, for sharing. We'll quickly spotlight your products that you started on. So like our previous guests, Jody started on the Glow Lean mix. So that's our active fiber, our aloe, and our herbal beverage. So the active fiber is a soluble and insoluble fiber. So it's really great for lots of reasons, but it helps with the digestive system, keeping it healthy and keeping you regular, and giving you your daily fiber for the day. Our herbal aloe, we always talk about it, it's like a shower on the inside, and you know, it just soothes inflamed stomachs to help you absorb and get in all the nutrients that you need. So definitely helps improve your digestion. And then our Herbie beverage, like Jody's spoken a lot about the tea, it definitely is what I credit snapping my sweet tooth in the bud, because I had a terrible sweet tooth. So I'm grateful for the tea, and it's a metabolism booster. So thermogenic, so it's helping us even while we're resting. So you definitely get the tea into you, and you mix these together. I've got mine here, and it's an awesome cocktail to get you through the day. Then Jody started on the Lean and Fit. So the products within the Lean and Fit are your Sports F1. So that's, all your nutrients that you need. So there's 21 vitamins and minerals to support you daily, and 9 grams of protein. Then our Formula 2. So I'm very grateful to Herbalife because they've put all the yucky bits into the capsule, so you swallow that and the shakes taste amazing. And remember, our multivitamin is graded, so you're getting exactly the same amount of goodness in what you have today is what you're going to have tomorrow. So there's no higgledy-piggledy with what's in each capsule. So forever grateful for Herbie doing that. The personal protein powder, this just boosts your shakes, so it helps keep you fuller for longer, but it's also super important. Us coaches are always saying that in every meal you need to make sure there's protein. It helps with weight loss, it helps build the muscle, but also it helps with any excess skin as well. So protein's super important for us to have if you're on a weight loss journey. And then our Herbie tea, as you know, we have 3 flavors. I love all of them, but I have to say peach is my most favorite because I love it hot or cold. Cinnamon, I love as a hot tea. I call it my hug in a cup. And remember those, like I'll bring this up because Jody was a Coke and Pepsi addict. So if you mix the mandarin aloe and the cinnamon tea together, it gives you a cola taste. So very similar to a cola flavor. So if you've got a person who is addicted to Coke, maybe suggest them to have a try of your Herbalife, and you can get them on board too. We want to help our friends and family out. And that is it for our call tonight. But so a very, very big thank you, Jody, for sharing your journey with us. It definitely has inspired me watching from afar and knowing you for the last 4 years. So it's so great to see you just glowing and buzzing like you are now. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me, Nat and Ralph. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome.
You're welcome. All right, everybody, if you've got any questions or you can think of anything, send it through to Ralph or I, and we can always shoot the question through to Jody to get an answer. But yeah, once again, Jody, thank you so very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.